Alright, hi guys, it's Kelly. So this is my first video ever, and the quality's probably going to be crap, because this is not going to be edited. I tried to edit one last night, and it was like an hour and a half of video. It was ridiculous and completely overwhelming. So I'm not doing that. This is what I'm doing. So these are the things I'm using. I'm going to be using this grid stencil from My Favorite Things, and a lot of W+9. So the rounded stackers here, and the hand lettered thanks, and pretty peonies. I went ahead and stamped everything beforehand because I know the coloring is going to take a really long time. So here's what we're working with. Lynn's beautiful cards. She had all these gorgeous flowers, which I knew I was going to be using because I can't not use flowers. That would be some sort of weird blasphemy on my blog or something, especially if my first video was not flowers. So I took the rounded stackers die and I just traced it so I knew what my placement was going to be, and I actually kind of on a scrap piece just figured out what I wanted to do so this video wouldn't be 400 years long. So here we go. So I'm always with Copics, you want to erase any of your pencil marks, because once you start the coloring you will never get them up. They will never go away. They will be there forever and be hideous and ruin your card. And who wants that? Nobody. So, soft white eraser, Prismacolor, good investment. We're just gonna dust that off. Can I just say, by the way, that I feel like an enormous dark, like huge nerd talking to myself here. It's 12:52 in the morning, and my son and my husband are sleeping, and I'm just chatting away in here by myself. You think I'd be used to that, dispatching and talking into the radio, but I know there's somebody listening on the other side. Anyway, so now that that is gone, I roughly know where I want my mask to go. Is my head in this? I hope my head's not in this. Sorry if my head's in it. So we're just going to put that down and make sure it's centered-ish. It is not centered-ish. Again, not centered-ish. Wow, who knew that it took this long to place a mask, huh? Alright, I feel like that's centered-ish. So I'm a cheapskate. I don't use masking paper. I use copy paper, and then I put Tomo Mono Multi Glue behind it, because when it dries it's repositionable. I just make sure I scooch it out to all my edges. And then I have a bunch of masks that I use already to stamp my flowers where I wanted them to go. I'm not concerned at all about the leaves, because the stenciling that I'm going to put in the background is going to be green, and the green I'm going to be coloring with is darker than the Distress ink I'm going to be using. So no biggie. Don't want to have to cut a bunch of masks we don't need. I chose to do the stenciling in the background because Lynn's third card had that beautiful pink polka dots in the background, and I thought that was so pretty. I'm actually lucky enough that I know Lynn in real life. She lives very close to me, and sometimes us crafters, seriously, go and meet up, and the wonderful Katie Gehrig, she puts this whole group together and we meet at her church, and it's lots of good fun and chatting and, you know, things that us girls do. So I'm going to grab this stencil, and again, I am a cheapskate, and I use repositionable adhesive on the back of my stencil so I don't have to tape them down. So I'm just going to put this down. It would help if I put the... Why is this not sticking? Yo, what's happening here, ladies? There we go. And I'm going to be using Twisted Citron Distress ink. I'm still using the square applicators. I know everybody raves about the round ones. I'm sure that they are lovely, but again, I'm not spending the money. I already own these. Why? These work just fine. So maybe once these get all yucky, crappy, whatever, I'll invest in new ones. But right now, these will suffice. So just very lightly starting from the outside edge, working my way in. You've seen enough videos on distressing because I'm willing to bet that you know how this rolls. Oh, again, with the masks that are copy paper, again, with the cheapness. Cheapness. How many times can I say cheap, do you think? Cheap, 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 cheap. I sound like a little birdie. They, I just make sure I smush the glue to the outside edge is all. So that way they don't lift when I am putting on my distress ink. Sometimes you got little areas like that, you just got to get the corner in there. And I feel like that's good. So, let's peel that bad boy up. Oh, look at how fun. We're just going to clean this up real quick and then get on with the coloring, because that's the best part. Peel up these masks. I love masking. I mean, really, it's like a little bit of magic. Look it. We're almost there. We're almost to the magical reveal. See, very cool little frame. I got some color flying over here. When I shot this video, not this one, but the video I shot last night, I set all the little caps out, which was so nice and cute, except I'm a paper turner and I kept knocking them over. So that was annoying. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you. It's RVO2. So as I set that there, anyway, you want to make sure you color with the, whichever direction the petal is moving. And you want to use a really light hand. My friend Wita, we also live by each other. Well, when she moved here from Colorado, which Colorado is like the mecca of crafters, in case you didn't know. There's a whole bunch of fun, wonderful crafters in that area. But anyway, we meet for lunch, and she had told me the one day to bring my Copics so I could show her exactly what it was I was doing. And when I was showing her, she said that she didn't realize what a light hand you have to have, and maybe that's why she was not pleased with the way that her coloring was coming out. And it took me a really long time to learn that. And I didn't, you guys are probably gonna laugh at this, but my Copic sat for like 2 years. I didn't even use them for 2 years because I did not, that's not what I want. I didn't know how to use them, and I would get very frustrated with the results because I would watch all these people who were using Copics and they looked beautiful, and I wouldn't mind to look like that. I mean, who doesn't? And they were not. So I'm using the flicking motion with you just want it to be really light little feather strokes. And see, this area here is kind of strange because it's going to be dark where this petal curls over, but you don't want to have no other color in there. Like, you don't want it to just be dark blobby. So in these smaller areas it does get a little bit tricky to make sure you have a good stroke, to make sure you have a good blend of color. So I'll probably do one big one and one small one, and then maybe I'll just turn on some music and you guys can watch me color, because I don't think I can just chat my way through this. This one here is upturned, so the shading's actually going to be on the bottom. For this one I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it that lightest shade because there's not enough there to even bother shading. And then when I color, I usually work from my lightest to darkest shade, and then in the reverse. So I'll end with the dark and then go back to the medium tone down through my lightest again. I just feel like that gives me the best blend of colors. I know there are some people who will do that There's a wonderful girl. Where does she DT? Make It Crafty. Her name is Marika, and not my girl Marika from Finland. She's a watercolor, though she can do Copics too. But she chooses to work with watercolor all the time, trying to get her to branch out. Anyway, she does this, Marika for Make It Crafty. She does all these coloring videos, and they are beautiful. But she does this twice. That's just what makes her happy. She goes through and goes dark to light. Just gonna add just a smidge of dark there, and then she does it all over again. And she does it for everything that she colors. It doesn't matter if it's a skin tone or a flower, an outfit. Her little person has on an outfit, whatever she's coloring. She goes over it twice. God bless her. That's what makes her happy. I guess in a way I kind of do the same thing, but not so thorough. She's much more thorough. You don't want to go over the color that you just laid down all the way. Like, I'm not completely covering up the RV09. I think I'm forgetting to show you the lids. Oh dear. Well, you know what? Everybody has a first video. So let's just go with that. Anyway, so you want to leave a little bit. Now, so at this point, that's my first layer. And I'm going to go back. This was RV69. I know I'm going to go back with my RV09. I'm not even going to mess with this because the last color that I put down there was RV09. So I'm just going to go wherever I've put the RV69, the peony, and start to kind of extend that out. And then every time, it doesn't matter if it's a slightly lighter color or not. If you go back over a darker color with a lighter color, it's going to lift up some of that pigment. So that's why I do it, so they blend a little better. And then especially with like a busier image like this one, you want to make sure you leave some breaks. Like, see how all the tips are still white? And this is RV04. Just you have to leave that break, or it's just gonna look a mess. It's gonna look all one shade, completely flat. And I mean, really, none of us want our images to look completely flat. We are not that kids coloring isn't completely adorable, but I don't know about you, I don't want mine to look like my 2-year-old did it. I'm not under no delusions that my 2-year-old has some savant talent in coloring, and I want my coloring to look like his. So this one, even though it's going to be lighter, because it's so tiny, it's not going to be as light. It's just not. So you can see they all start to blend out nicely. Now, for some reason, this pink, the RV02 and the RV04, the RV02 really bleaches out that 4. I'm not a chemist by any means, so I'm not sure exactly what it is about those two colors, but you can see, like, it's almost like that RV04 like disappears. So for that one, I am going to go, you just work it until you're happy with the results. Whatever, they're going to be different for everybody. So, I got a little bit of dark there. We're going to fix that up. Okay, so this one is fairly complete. I didn't color the center, but I am going to go back in where I think it would be the darkest with my darkest marker and add some of that dark back in. I just think that it helps for your dimension. Obviously down here on the bottom of the flower would be pretty dark. Alright, so I'm feeling like I'm okay. So the three yellows that I chose for the centers are Y11, Y08, and Y26. This looks like a hideous color, but it's actually really good for adding some depth to your bright yellows. Dawn's stamps, like I said, it's a builder set, so you stamp the flower and then you stamp the centers inside them. So I suppose if you didn't want that type of center, you didn't have to have it. So I'm basically just going to do the same thing to all the other leaves, or all the other flowers, and then I will get back with you because I don't want to edit this thing. Okay, so while I was away, I went ahead and colored these three, and then I figured I would color these two in the leaves. I think that this is going to be an absurdly long video, and I probably won't edit it. My goal when I started videos was, I'm going to start coloring while I'm chatting, PPS, was to do the voiceovers, except my camera doesn't, or my computer doesn't really like my voice. It records it really, really quietly. So I have ordered a microphone, a USB microphone to plug into my laptop so I can do the voiceovers, but until that gets here, it is what it is. I'm stuck with this, which makes, you know, editing even more overwhelming. Any of you people out there who are, was V12 by the way, moving on to V04, who have a PC, everybody I freaking know uses a Mac, and I'm not switching to a Mac. I know everybody raves about them, but I'm not doing it. So if you know of a good photo editing software for a PC, I am all ears, guys. Help me out. I have Windows Movie Maker on my desktop, hello enunciation, already, so that's what I attempted with, and it was, oh my god, it took forever to upload it, and then, I mean, I've been using computers basically since I was in 6th grade, so not like I'm not comfortable with them, or so I'm not really sure what my issue is with the photo editing software, but it was just really overwhelming, and I wasn't getting it. It wasn't happening for this little girl. So so yeah, basically coloring the little flower is a little more difficult because it's a tighter area. So they almost always come out a little darker, which is fine, it's no biggie. I'm just doing the same thing I did with the large one, you know, adding in little flicks of color, and then going light to dark and back again. I have never taken a Copic class. I am by no means an expert. This is just what works for me. Doesn't work for you? That's okay too. Don't do it. Crafting's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, find something else that is. Life's too short to spend this amount of time doing some stuff that don't make you happy. I feel bad, very, very bad, for people who get into crafting and love it, and then they get sucked into the wild world of working for companies and design teams and running a blog and everything else, and then all of a sudden the hobby that was something that brought them such joy, they don't love it anymore. And I will be damned if somebody's going to rob me of crafting, which makes me so happy. I would quit every company I worked for and every design team that I was on before I would do that. But I don't take it personally. If you watch this video and you're like, Kelly, you ramble a lot and I don't really like your stuff, move on, honey. Go watch something else. Go watch something that makes you happy. If this ain't it. Alright, so for the blues, I picked the flower colors based on the flowers that Lynn had used in her flower cards. She had some blue violets in there, a lot of pink, and she had the first one is violet and blue violet, and then the second one is all pink, and the last one is various shades of pink as well, which her cards are just beautiful all the time, and she's the nicest lady. I had a lot of fun meeting up and crafting with that one. Unfortunately, you know, we all have lives, so not everybody makes it to everything, and I'm sure she's been since I have seen her. It's been quite some time since I have seen her. We probably just made it on different days. So I am listening to my Pandora while I'm crafting. I really hope you can't hear that in the video, because not everything I listen to is PC. Shocking news, I'm sure. I mean, God, if you're watching this, you read the blog. You're probably not surprised to know. Not everything I say is appropriate. Oh, Lord. I work in a police department. In my defense, there's a lot of things that, you know, guys say that I've adopted over the years. Okay, that's a lie. I probably said those things before I worked there. Much to my mother's embarrassment, I'm sure. Oh dear. Sorry, Mom. So when you're layering flowers like we are here, this part's going to be darker because this flower is on top. So you kind of have to account for that too in your coloring. Or don't. I mean, it's a card. It's not life or death here. So mostly with my darkest color, I usually just add little bits in the areas that are going to be darkest. I used to, when I first started with Copics, I used to do my dark first, and I discovered that if I start with my dark first, the whole thing is dark. Like bad, like not very, very poor. Very, very poor. So this combination of starting with my lightest, putting in my shadows with my lightest, and then going back over it, you know, with everything else, is what works for me. So that's what I do. I feel like I'm just chatting your little ears off. If you ever met me in real life, you know that this is actually not that far from the truth. I'm very chatty. I was that kid in school who received report cards all the time that said, talks too much. But it was okay, because when they moved me, I just found someone else to talk to. I'm not picky. I will chat with anyone. I used to tease my mother when I was growing up that she could make friends with people in the grocery store. And, newsflash, ladies, I'm a mom. No, this one will be. Okay. So, the flowers are done. I felt like I was okay with this darkness, but I feel like this needs a bit more. Just to create that contrast, because as Sandy Almack will tell you, if you don't have contrast in there, it's all bad. And she is a lovely, lovely, talented woman. I'm certainly no Sandy, but I have had the experience to sit next to her and have conversations with her and watch her color. And sometimes when she starts off, you're like, oh my god, that is so dark. What is this crazy lady doing? But then it always looks like fantastic at the end. Alright, so now we're going to do some leaves. And I think 6. So this is how I, since it's already going to be long as shit, we might as well. It's that police department. So this is how I pick my colors. I do have a hex chart that is from Sandy. And usually with green, my lightest is either YG01 or 03. This time I'm going to go with 03. And I think I'm going to go 03, 06, and then maybe a G05. So that's what we're going to do. 06 and 05. So, yeah, see, that it covers that right up. We're never going to see the grid underneath, so glad we didn't take the time to mask those. It would have been so pointless. With leaves, I do fill the whole thing in most of the time, and then I feather from the top and bottom. There's a motorcycle driving by my house. I hope you didn't hear that. I guess it doesn't matter since I just pointed it out. Yeah. So, and then sometimes, you know, because you want them to be different, you want them to be unique. Leaves in nature are not all the same color, fashion, striation. So it's good to mix it up. This leaf right here, when I stamped it, I only wanted 2 leaves. I didn't want 3. So I just wiped off the one side, the one leaf, before I stamped it, so I didn't have to mask. There's okay. I mean, you can just make stamps whatever you want, which is why that's such a good time. So maybe at this point we'll just turn on some music so that way you can just watch me color for a little bit, and then we'll get back at it when I'm done. All right. Coloring is done. I guess we'll do the shadow first. In Lynn's cards, she does this wonderful dimension with the popping up. I'm using the Worms 1, 3, and 5. She does wonderful, wonderful popping up with all this dimension and it's totally beautiful, but I want a 1-layer card. You know I do, you know I do. And when you're doing a light source, you should pick whatever feels comfortable to you. I almost always go with upper left, so the light was coming in like this way. That's when I took art classes in high school. That was just, I guess, my teachers preferred. When you're feathering, whatever direction makes you comfortable. I prefer to feather away from myself. That's just what feels comfortable in my hand. If that's not what feels comfortable to you, if you prefer to pull it towards you, then you can do that. You can do whatever you want. I know. Crazy. God, as a mom, I feel like I never get to do whatever I want. Which is why it's almost 2 in the morning and I'm sitting here crafting because, well, that's really the only time I get to craft. How many other late night crafters are out there? A bunch of you, I hope. So I'm just adding in some shadows, and I usually start with my darkest one and then kind of work my way out to blend them and just go back over. Now sometimes it can feel a little bit too intense, like there's too much shadow. When that happens, after I'm done, I just go back in with my colorless blender and make everything a little lighter, a little bit. I mean, there's tricks for pretty much everything you want to do. Everything. Now might be some time for, well, you know what, whatever. We're in it now. This video's already going to be so jacked up. If you made it this far, God bless you. So, I was going to say maybe I would, you know, insert some music in here, but really, no one music saving this thing. So, sometimes with my last color, I will go around like the whole image. I don't know that I'm going to do that this time. I don't, because there wouldn't be shadow around the whole thing, so maybe I'll just do, I feel like the shadow has gotten quite large though. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So that is what that is. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do about it? We're almost done, so I'm doing nothing about it. That's what I'm doing. And then, you know, usually as you get more familiar with the shape, it goes faster. Plus you're a little further away from all that coloring that you spent doing. So you're not as inclined to be as careful. Or at least I'm not as inclined to be as careful. So I got a little bit of dimension shadowing. I am going to, at some point, take this. I'll use either a Copic multi-liner. Hello, where is it? Let me find one here. So the Copic multi-liner looks like this, and they come in all different sizes. When I was at the my stamping retreat in March, one of my nibs, and I mean I used, look, you can see there's like no nib left, but I didn't replace that one. And when I went to Michael's, me and Kelly Booth and Sherry Carroll in our pajamas, no joke, went to Michael's and did some shopping, and I couldn't find the multi-liners, so I ended up with this, the EK Tools liners here, and they're called journaling pens, but I actually really like them, and they come in a lot of good sizes. And when I am looking for something to, or when I'm looking to outline my stamp, excuse me while I drink the coffee, I try to match up the line widths. So a lot of times I use the 0.02 or the 0.25. For this one, Dawn used varying line widths. So some of them are thicker, and the thicker ones are definitely 0.35. So at some point I will do that. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and get on with the stamping portion of it, because you don't want to watch me outline all this stuff, I promise you. So this is W+9 Pure Color Black dye ink. This is my new go-to for stamping sentiments or anything that I want to be crisp. So I'm just going to put this right in the center here. Yes, I know I'm stamping over those leaves. It's okay. It's still going to be legible. And then this, I'm going to scooch this. Yeah, I know I'm not cleaning this. Not happening. Not right now. I'm pretty terrible about that, to be honest. So this is from the hand lettered hello, and it's going to say thanks for the gift, because my friend Katie Garrett, she's the one who puts the stamping together. You might see my head, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I think that's fine. The last time we all got together for stamping, which had been quite a long time since I had been there, she had given me some stamps that she had, that she was no longer using and she was looking to get rid of. And it was wonderful because I did not have them. And she wouldn't even let me give her anything for them because she's darling, and she's like, I'm just going to throw them away anyway. So I wanted to say thank you to her. So I thought this would be a fun little thank you card. And as of right now, I'm fairly pleased with it. I am going to mount it onto this watermelon sensation basil card stock. Because Lynn's second card, our first card, I'm sorry, she had left this beautiful little blue violet border around, and I loved that. So eventually I'm going to mount it onto this pink, and that's what it's going to look like. And we're pretty much done after, I think, God, it's been like 40 minutes or something. God bless America. So if you made it this long, thanks for hanging in with me, and I swear to God, the next video will not be this bad. Alright, thanks for stopping, guys. Bye.